Good morning, and with that beautiful note, let's start off. And I choose to believe that he's still around somewhere in this crowd, because I choose to believe so. And instead of addressing the whole thing, lecture, as burnout, which seems a bit out of the way for me, I would rather label it as loving yourself. Because we have simply forgotten the art, the very simple art of loving ourselves. We judge ourselves every day. And we are awful judges, we are horrible judges. We torture ourselves. So somewhere we need to, press that reset button and learn to love ourselves. The next one, please. How do I advance? This? Okay. So there's a saying that until you let go of who you are, you cannot be what you might be, because you're beautiful inside. You're really beautiful inside. And this was one of my patients, and you can see the big growth on her right hand. And she would not look up at me. And finally I coaxed her, I gave her that big box of chocolates, and then she looked up at me. And those eyes, the photo doesn't do justice to it. And I said, मैंने उस दिन खुदा देखा. It was beautiful. Okay. So pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. There is nobody who hasn't gone through pain. But whether you choose to suffer or not, that is optional. And here you can see 3 generations. That lady who is with that little child, she had traveled all the way from Tripura to Kolkata just to be with her daughter who is sitting out there, because her daughter was pregnant at that point of time, so that she could hold her great-granddaughter. And that is what gave her meaning in life. Life is all about having a sense of meaning. Suffering would come, but then it is up to you whether you invite that suffering into your home and give it a seat and say, sit down, boss. If you choose to do so, you will suffer. So suffering there could be various dimensions of suffering. And there is none in this room who has not suffered. We continue to suffer. For that is the nature of life. That is the nature of impermanence. The day you understand what impermanence is, what is permanence and what is impermanence. In the Shastras it is called Satya and Asatya. Satya क्या है? जो समय के साथ परिवर्तित न हो, that which doesn't change with time, that is truth. And what doesn't change with time? Try to figure it out. That little you in you, that little child who is still within you, that doesn't change with time. That is there. Nourish that little child. You have forgotten that little child. So that little child has certain demands, not very big demands. Because in yesterday's party in the evening, I saw that little child come out when you guys were dancing out here. So that was that little child. You were nourishing that little child. And I say you nourish that little child every day of your life, and you will never die. Suffering seeks validation to blossom positively. All of us suffer. But if I don't acknowledge your suffering, then it doesn't have validation. Unless your suffering is known to others also, unless others acknowledge your suffering, everything seems like a waste. So it needs validation. So whenever somebody is suffering, have some compassion and try to validate that suffering. And this photograph is from a Tibetan painting. Trotung Troma Tungna Jesar Jimisa. There was a king called Jesar. And Jesar was tortured by his uncle, Trotung. So Trotting used to torture Jesar a lot. And Jesar used every bit of that torture to nourish himself, to polish himself, and to rise. So what made Jesar so great? It was the torture, it was the suffering. Now what is interesting is that there's studies on key components of quality care, whom we, like in our society and as doctors, whom do we address as, oh, ye to bahut badhiya doctor hai. The guy who has a huge number of degrees, which is opposite to the response which is opposite to the responses from patients and families. What do your clients look for you as a doctor? Patients don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So what matters for the patient is how much time you devote to them, how good you are as a person. They don't know your qualities. They don't know about your degrees, even what it means. So compassion, as they say, there are three components. You have to recognize suffering, you have to relate to individuals in suffering, and then you have to react to suffering. What you need every time a patient comes to you or you go to visit a patient, it is not that you have to do something. What you need is a visible, persistent and dedicated presence. What is more important, like when a patient comes to your chamber, if you just get up and offer him a chair, that is more important than, giving him a fantastic block which will relieve the pain. Because that pain might go away, a fresh pain might come in. But what the patient would remember is your little act of compassion. And doing this over the years, you go into a state what is called compassion fatigue. So how would you know this compassion fatigue? What happens? Hyperarousal. You can't sleep, you're too excited, you can't sleep, or you become irritable. Then avoidance. Whenever that topic is being discussed or something is being discussed, or you wouldn't like to go to the department, you would keep on taking long leaves. And re-experiencing, suppose you're sitting alone and that bad experience of a fight or whatever you had with your boss or whatever, that keeps on coming in your mind. Because this mind is a very clever guy, it tortures you. So that thought keeps on coming in your mind. It will play with you. It will play with your emotions. It will make you, unstable, sort of. So you need to master your mind. And that's not an easy job. But what you can do to start off is to, whenever such re-experiencing thoughts come, just for a second, quieten down, think of something else. Do something. Get up immediately, have a glass of water. Or cook. I love cooking. So whenever I'm very disturbed, I just go to the market, get something, and in the evening I cook. I love it. So you need to trick your mind, because your mind tricks you. And then there is something called moral distress. Your inability to act in a manner consistent with one's personal and professional values due to institutional and other external constraints. Remember the day when you got your MBBS degree and you were so proud. You had some goals. And today, your goals have changed. I'm not saying that you're wrong. Circumstances are there. As I said, the whole idea is to learn to love yourself. And rumination, just as I said, your mind will trick you. That constant thought, that nagging thought, you keep on thinking about it. It tortures you. Because at the core lies fear. Fear. And whenever there is fear, think of impermanence. Nothing is permanent in this materialistic world. Focus on that one thing which is permanent, that little you and you, and that little you which is hidden in you is the only thing which is permanent. Focus on that. Nourish that little one. Fear will disappear, because fear is also impermanent. This is the best definition I could get of burnout. An erosion of the soul. It is not concerned to your body only. An erosion of the soul caused by a deterioration of one's values, dignity, spirit and will. Okay, how many of you in this room, okay, let's be very frank about it, have ever contemplated suicide or even thought of it? There is nothing wrong. In fact, I had discussed this with CK. There were certain subtle signs. I know you can't explain it with science, but then about a week before the tragedy which Piyush had, there were subtle signs coming in. I was surprised. It's okay. If you even contemplate suicide, it's okay. Suicide is a way of getting back your own control. And who are you to judge whether a person should commit suicide or not? Whose body is it? Who is living with those challenges? Do you have even the slightest idea of what the other person is going through? So who are you as a third person to comment on whether a suicide is, justifiable or not? This society is very peculiar. Learn to live slightly away. Learn to be crazy. Makes sense actually. Crazy is the sense. So burnout is a holistic thing. It's not only physical, but then there will be spiritual issues and social issues of burnout. And recovery can take an average of 2 years. Remember, if you don't take care of yourself, all these workshops, all these conferences are a big waste. What use is it to train yourself if you can't look after yourself? So, see this toy, which is a battery operated toy. So you switch on the switch, you put in the fresh battery and it keeps on, running around. And it keeps on running around and running around till the battery dies out. Isn't it? When the battery dies out, kya hota hai? What happens to this toy? It stops. Because the battery has died out, it stops running. But what happens to us? When our batteries die out, we still keep going. And that is the greatest foolishness or the most stupid thing which we can do. To keep trying to go on when our batteries have run out. What could be more foolish? Learn from this toy. When your batteries die out, even the toy stops. So there is a time when you need to stop and take care of yourself. So the causes of burnout could be so many. In your professional life, in your own social life, in your family life, and in your own life, in your spiritual life. There could be so many causes. People don't quit companies, they quit bosses. So your boss can take your life for a toss. So be aware of such bosses and delete them from your life. I don't mean kill them. Delete them from your spiritual life. Because your life is here. Your life is up here. So, suicide is a consequence of burnout. But then, suicide or an attempt to suicide is a call for help. It is an extreme end. By attempting suicide, you would think that that is a way by which I can regain some sort of control, because you have lost control. Nothing is working for you anymore. And then you say, okay, nothing is working, at least this is there in my hand. ये तो है मेरे पास, पकड़ता हूं इसको, कहां जाएगा? And then the act is done. So there could be so many consequences of burnout. But the thing is that this recovery, the process of recovery takes a very long process. And the most important, the first thing which you need to do is physical or psychological removal. As I said, delete button. You remove yourself from the surroundings. Now, yesterday that little child had blossomed in all of you because you are removed from your workplaces, you are removed from your surroundings, you have come into a big loving family. So that is important. You have to remove yourself. Next comes self-knowledge and acceptance. You have to accept yourself. You are beautiful. You are beautiful. You could be the best thing which has ever happened to yourself, you know. Love yourself. You are not all that bad. You are beautiful. And then there should be a revised psychological contract with yourself. This takes an average of 2 years. And come to think of it, and you think that burnout, अच्छा मैं जा रहा हूँ यार, एक दिन के लिए सब ठीक ठाक हो जाएगा. Nothing happens. Takes time. You will not be punished for your anger, you will be punished by your anger. So love yourself. Don't punish yourself. We spend more time looking after our physical bodies than our minds. So self-care is not an indulgence. It is not a luxury. It is a necessity. So you have to understand what your true nature is. The nature of the Rigpa, as they say in the Tibetan studies. Rigpa is that little child sitting within yourself. Rigpa is not what I see of you like Shiv is. This is not the Rigpa of Shiv. But the Rigpa of Shiv came out yesterday when he was dancing out here. That was the Rigpa of Shiv. All of you need to cultivate that Rigpa and bring it out. It looks the same, but they are different. And butterfly effect of caring. Learn to be sensitive, non-judgmental and respectful towards yourself first. And only then you can transfer it. You cannot pour from an empty glass. If I have to give you water, I have to fill up my glass first with water. If I have to love you, I have to fill myself with love. I have to love myself, and only then can I love you. And Bayezid Bastami had said, do everything as if today is the last day of your life, and yet do everything as if life will go on for eternity. And so mindfulness, I cannot do justice to all these huge topics in such a short time, but then mindfulness is one of the practices which we teach people. How others see you is not important. It really is not important. The day you understand this, half of your job is done. How you see yourself means everything. So you need to cultivate something which is called an emotional hygiene. You need to learn to love yourself. So suffering is limited to the body and mind. So go beyond them. That little child is the nature of truth. He has never died in you. He was there when you were 2 years old. He is still there when you are here right now. And he will be there with you forever. Science does not answer the why questions. Science answers the how questions. So don't explain everything with science. And you know this? Varaha Avatar, my favorite slide. And it shows that the earth was round. And this could be something like, 10,000 years old. And it was in the 15th or 16th century that, the Western world said that the earth was round. Various parts, I'm running out of time. And the Iktara, there is a single string which connects your inner self with the Almighty, and you need to focus on that single string, the Ektara. I'll run because literally these are the ways in which we do it, our practice. And then there's, I'll just tell you something about the slide. It is from the Mundaka Upanishad, and it shows two birds sitting on two different branches, and see, one bird is eating the fruit and the other bird is just sitting and watching the other bird eating the fruit. We are all in this materialistic world, we are the second bird sitting out there and eating the fruit, because we are focused on the materialistic world. Kya milega, and promotion milega ya nahi, paisa milega ya nahi, ghar mein whether I'll buy a new house or not. We are that second bird eating that fruit. But we need to learn to be that bird who is unaffected by whatever is happening, because the other bird knows that nothing is permanent in this world. He knows. So learn to be that second bird. Understanding the nature of impermanence. In Tibet, what happens is that when somebody dies, the monks come and they will sit in the house of the dead person for 40 days. And over 40 days they draw this beautiful mandala. It takes a long time, 40 days, and lot of man hours to make this beautiful painting. And at the end what they do? They destroy it. They make up this painting over 40 days, and in the end they just destroy it. And that is a teaching. It teaches you the nature of impermanence. The day you learn to let go, as I say, learn to open your fist. We are all born with a closed fist, and only the day we die, our fist opens. The art is in learning to open your fist much before. Learn to let go. Life is beautiful. So, learn to love yourself. You're beautiful. And we do run courses on self-care. If you're interested, we are always there for you. So it is about bringing that little child out in you. You can see that lady who is 80 years old and a breast cancer survivor in between those little faces. I see no difference in them, because I don't see that elderly lady. What I see is a little child in her amongst the other children. That is what makes life beautiful. Thank you.
Can we have Dr. Vimohan to Dilip Singh Parmar?